Okay, welcome everybody to the first interview in this series on education. I have with me my second cousin, Daniella Mestas, and I'm so excited to launch this with her as an amazing, talented young lady and a recent graduate as a dental hygienist. And tell me, first of all, where are you from?
I am from the San Luis Valley, which is in Colorado. That's where most of my family still lives at. They're just like, a little bit of immediate family that moved to Pueblo, Colorado, but we come from the oldest town. It's a wonderful place to grow up. We had lots of fun when I was younger there. I still go back there and enjoy family time, and it's a great place to visit, to live. You get experiences, especially like outdoor experiences. It's an amazing place to go and to be from.
Absolutely. So Daniella's dad, Andrew, and I are first cousins, and him, my brother, and all of the other cousins on that side of the family used to have tons of fun and wreak havoc everywhere we went, especially in Chamacañón at our grandparents' property. It was a ton of fun to go up there for sure. And her mom and I were best friends and lived together, or lived next to each other, not together, for a short time. And her and I used to do some fun stuff too. We have a ton of memories. And so I'm just really excited to have her as the first interviewee in this series on successful people in the San Luis Valley. And if you didn't see the introduction to this series, I talked about how there was a professor many, many years ago when I was in college who said that nobody educated ever came out of the Valley. And we're about to prove him wrong, because this entire series, starting with Daniella and the recent graduates from 2020, and some teachers and professors that come out of the San Luis Valley, will be telling you their stories and sharing their journeys with you on what has led them to where they are today. And we hope that you're inspired and that you learn more about some of the people that come out of the San Luis Valley. So first of all, tell me, what was school like for you? What was dental hygienist school like for you? Because I don't know anything about that. I'm like deathly afraid of the dentist. I'm a big baby. So just tell me a little bit about what that process was like for you.
So in order to get into this type of field, you obviously need prerequisites that you have to go through before you can even apply to the program. Once you apply, then you can put in an application and they send you a letter saying that they are ready to interview you. So you go through an interview process like a job. And there were several instructors in one room asking you a bunch of questions, and it was intimidating. It felt like it took a half hour, but it only took like 5 minutes. Once you do that interview process, then they either send you a letter or call you and let you know that you have gotten in. And I remember that day, I think it was 2 years ago in April, they had sent me a letter, and I remember I was by myself waiting all day at my house for the mail to come in, and the mail was late that day. And two of my friends had told me that they had gotten their letters, and I was nervous. So finally, when he came, I was still by myself at home, and I sat on the couch and I said a prayer and I opened it, and all I seen was the letters. I said, "Congratulations, you have been accepted." And I didn't read the rest of the letter.
And that's all it took.
Yeah, and I was super excited. I was crying just with joy. And then I remember calling my mom, and I was like excited, and I was like, I got in, and she didn't say not one word, not a sound on the other line. So I was like, did she hang up? What happened? And no, I heard her, she started crying, and then she's like, I'll be home in a minute. So it was exciting. It wasn't what I expected. I didn't think it was going to be as hard as I thought it would be. Going into the field, you go every single day, Monday through Friday. It's like a job, 8 to 5. You start out by doing all the book work your first semester, and it's usually like 7 classes that you're taking your first semester. So it's a full-on process. It took a lot of work, and it was a lot of adjusting, because I didn't know how to do that. In high school and everything, you did a couple tests, a week, and these tests were 3-4 tests in a day. And then you go on to your next semesters and you start implementing clinics, so the hands-on process. Nice. And implementing clinic and then your book work all in one day, and then having to go find patients, and then you had certain requirements in clinic, and you had certain instruments you had to test out on, and everything that you learned they tested you out on, and you had to find certain patients and qualifications for them. So it was hard. It was it was kind of scary, and they always said you can't fail. It was kind of emotional just because I didn't get to spend a whole lot of time with my family, and then when I got those breaks, it was like the best time of my life, because that's what you need. They've always told us, yeah, school's important, but you also need to take time for yourself to kind of reevaluate and not put so much stress on yourself. Right. But it taught me a lot. It made me grow into the person I am, and I came out of the program very knowledgeable and going into the real world, and it definitely had prepared me for my career.
Ready to take on dental offices.
yeah, it was amazing.
I wish you lived closer, then I could go to you.
I know there's a lot of things that you can do in our field. You don't just go and clean teeth. You can go be a researcher. You can go be a business person. You can sell products. You could go be a speaker, guest speaker. You could do public health. There's volunteer work. People do mission work, and there's so much that you can do with our field besides just clean teeth.
That's awesome. Well, I have a couple of questions. The first thing is that you said that there were some requirements that you had to have before you got in. So that's my first question. And then the second one is, since you said it was a full-time program, did you have to work on top of that, or how were you able to sustain being in the program and just life at the same time? So first the recs, and then the working.
So for your prereqs, you got to go and do obviously your general prereqs, your math, your reading, writing type thing. I actually took those in a different college, and you do all those, but like to get into an actual like program as far as like dental hygiene or nursing, usually it's all your science. So your biologies, your microbiologies, your anatomies, chemistry. We had to take chemistry. There were at least maybe 7 to 8 different prereqs that you had to be accepted before you could apply to the program.
And this is at Pueblo Community College?
Yeah, I did half of my scientific courses at Otero Junior College. And then when I transferred to PCC, then I did my anatomy 1, anatomy 2, chemistry 1, chemistry 2, biology, microbiology, all before I could get into the program.
And did you have to work on top of going through the program full time?
So when I first started, I was working, and then I realized that I am taking like 5 classes per week, and then we're having exams every single week, 1 to 2 exams every single week, plus on top of that a clinic, and it was just really, really hard. So I was fortunate enough to have my family support, my grandparents, my mom, and my fiance to actually support me financially.
Okay.
And that's what it was. My first semester was super expensive, just because we had to get all of our equipment, and that was the most expensive thing. So, if you're a person that doesn't qualify for financial aid, they did have scholarships throughout the program. I actually received the dental, the dental care scholarship. It's the insurance company that they actually give to people at different companies, dental care. And so I had received that scholarship, and that was like over $2,000.
Nice.
And usually what was nice is like our instructors would send us all an email saying this scholarship's available, so go ahead and apply. And you just had to have a certain GPA and write a letter, and it was a simple process, and then you were able to get that chance to receive money. So there was a lot of help that they tried to provide for us as well.
Good. Well, that's exciting, and it sounds like it was well worth it. I know that it's a lot of work when you're in it, but when you come out, it's just such a relief, and it's such a sense of accomplishment, you know?
Yes.
And you talked a little bit about what options there are after having this certification. What kinds of things are you thinking that you might do?
You know, we had a lot of guest speakers come into our school, and they were from all over, and they all had different jobs. Like I said, they, you know, sold products, or they did public health. And what was really interesting is I thought the public health was a little bit more on my side. You know, as you become a hygienist, like I said, it's not just about cleaning teeth. You change someone's life just by fixing their teeth, you know, their smile. There's a lot of people out there who are very, I should say, lack of self-confidence because of that. And, you know, I've seen dentists who have actually repaired their teeth, and they have so much confidence in the world, and they love it. And so that's the purpose, is you want to change someone's life and be able to help them in a certain way. I think public health is great. A lot of people don't do it just because you don't get paid as much, but you're doing it out of the kindness of their heart, to help these people who either can't afford it, because dental is very expensive nowadays, and especially if you don't have insurance. Yeah. You know, there was a lady that actually came who, it was really interesting, and I really liked what she did, and it inspired me. You know, you go do sealant placement for kids who at the schools, you know, they don't have transportation at the schools sometimes, and it was nice for her to go to them and place these sealants, and it was for free. Their parents didn't have to pay for it. And you know, she did it out of the kindness of her heart, and that just really inspired me, and to let me know that it's not all about the money. Because that's, you know, I hear every time somebody tells me, oh, what do you do for a living, or what'd you go to school for? And you know, I tell them, they're like, wow, you know, they get paid really good. And I'm like, yeah, but you know, it's about making someone's life different, and being able to provide for somebody that they don't think that is that nobody else does for them, pretty much. I've always wanted to try. We went to like these conventions and stuff, and I really like the mission work. And what the mission work is you could go to all these different countries, and you actually provide dental care for free to these people that have no dental care at all. So like rural country areas, you know, I've seen that there's people there that don't, you know, kids that don't even have a toothbrush, or they share a toothbrush, or you know, they use something else, and you know, these kids have, you know, no teeth, or they have rotten teeth, and it's really sad to see. And you realize how fortunate you are to live here, and to have all those products that people provide here for you, because those people don't have that chance to do any of that. So that's what inspired me too, is just to try to go and do that. And what's nice is you don't even have to be involved in dental care. You can be anybody, any volunteers can go. You don't have to be certified. You don't have to, you know, like I said, be involved in any of that. You can just be, your significant other can go with you and help you. And I think those are some things that I really want to accomplish as my career goes on.
That is so cool. I love that. I admire that. You know, going to different countries, especially where there is a huge need, and we know that it definitely exists. It exists here in this country, and it exists in lots of different places, and I think that's so admirable. So I can't wait to see what you do. I'm definitely going to be keeping tabs to see all the amazing stuff that happens from this career.
Yes.
So tell me, I guess one of the best memories, or one of your shining moments while you were in school that you can remember.
Okay, well, I have a couple. So I think one of the best moments in high school was when I was on the softball team, and we had actually went to state, and won state.
Nice.
And we went every single year since my freshman year. We qualified for regionals, went to state, but we always kept losing and losing. And, you know, my senior year was just, it felt different. And a lot of us girls were, you know, putting in the work, and we said, we're going to make it happen. And, you know, we actually went undefeated and we won state. So that was probably one of the most memorable moments that I'll never forget. And then when I went to college, I actually got a softball scholarship to play at Otero Junior College, so that's why I had went to La Junta, Colorado. And we actually won regionals there as well, which was the championship before you go into an international championship. And we did the same thing, so that was like another shining moment that I think was one of the best moments of my life. And then also in hygiene school, graduating, even though, you know, all this COVID-19 had happened, you know, it was a bump in the road, and it actually had to happen the last semester of school. And, you know, a lot of us were really down and in the slumps, and it was just a challenge that we had to overcome, and it was life. And I think that it kind of made us a little bit stronger as the class of 2020, and it was something that we all had to go through, not just, you know, not just our class, or but everybody around the entire country. So it was really good accomplishment for this year.
Well, it sounds like, I mean, from high school to, well, first of all, do you still play softball?
I only play like slow pitch, you know, on the weekends or the summers. But no, once I was done with college, and I kind of put it off and didn't really go back to it for a while. But I've always loved the game, so that was one of the games that probably shaped me into the person that I am too. It was
good. Well, I heard what in your description, you know, your high school softball team went to state, your college softball team were undefeated. You had to endure this COVID thing in the last semester, which was probably the toughest semester to get through, you know, with your certification and your degree. And so my question is, what did it take? Like, what did you have to pull out of yourself to be able to, you know, what kinds of qualities did you have to have, a character did you have to be able to make it to state in softball in high school, and then in college, and then to endure what you did this spring? Like, what kind of inspiration did you have?
So in high school, you know, when we went to state, like I said, we went every single year, and I think it was just our team, you know, we had that drive, that heart, and the ability saying, you know, we're from Pueblo, and, you know, we're playing teams from Denver, Springs, all over Colorado, who are actually bigger schools. You know, they're more competitive, and a lot of those girls, especially when we went to state, we actually faced a Division I pitcher, and she went to South Carolina University. She was a big girl, and she was good. And, you know, we said, you know, just because where we're from doesn't mean that we can do it. So I think each and every one of us just had that heart. We had that drive, the inspiration to just work hard and keep working hard no matter what. You know, every time, we didn't know we were going to go undefeated. And every game we're like, we can't break the streak. We have to keep working hard. And, you know, honestly, I think we all just had that drive, that feeling that we trusted each other as well, that, you know, we had each other's back, you know, throughout the entire games. And, you know, we had some tough games, and we just kind of pulled it out in the end and showed them who, you know, the better team was. And I think it was because we had heart, and we had that passion for the love of the game. And then the same thing when we went to Otero, you know, it was different because I stood with the same team for years. And then when I went to college, there were so many, you know, girls from Hawaii, Canada, Mexico, Texas, you know, all over the states, and they are more competitive. Like I said, it was a higher level of competitiveness, and you had to work for your position. You know, there were 20 some girls on one team and you had to work for it. And granted, yes, my high school coach was actually my college coach. And I knew that just because he was my coach in high school that he was going to give me a position in college. No, I had to work for it. And you know, he told me there are girls coming in, and you know, I want you to put your heart out into it. So that's what I did, and it was definitely worth it. And it was nice because once you move on to your next year, the new incoming freshmen come in and they actually try to challenge you, your position, and you know, you got to make them work for it. And that's like life too, you know, you got to work. If you want something, you got to work for it, I believe. And that's how I was raised.
That's
So
awesome. So it was like, was it a ton of practicing and just like learning your game and looking at videos to see what you could do better and that kind of stuff? Or
it was more of just repetition. You know, I think one weak fall that I had sometimes was offense. I loved defense. I loved, you know, throwing people out, diving for catches, robbing people over the fence when they hit a home run. Like, I was good at that. And then it was just the hitting part that kind of was a challenge for me. So, you know, before practices, I'd go to the hitting cages, hit 100 balls. After practice, stay longer and hit more, get ground balls, get fly balls, you know, put in more work. On the weekends, we go to the hitting cages and hit and hit and hit. I had a hitting coach that we had actually hired, and you know, he helped me through a lot of things. So I mean, just putting in more work, because it's not, sometimes, you know, they say it just comes with, for some people it came right away. For me, I had to work a little bit harder to accomplish things in life. So but it was definitely worth it. So
absolutely, I can totally see that. And so I bet the same kind of perseverance and the same kind of characteristics got you through this last semester, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, that was really tough. I kept telling all of us in our class, we're just like, why this semester? Like, our last semester, and you know, it was the toughest one. You know, you had a preparation for your clinical boards, your written boards to get your license. You had to finish clinical requirements. You had to finish all your classes. We had 7 classes this last semester, so finishing finals, and into an early spring break in March. And so, you know, we're trying to learn how to do things like on Zoom and WebEx. And for me, it was a little harder just because I'm a hands-on, in-person classroom type of a person. So I had to adjust. You know, you had to learn a lot of things by yourself and everything. So I think that was challenging, you know, taking exams online. And we used to do it in class. And then I think the whole virus thing kind of tried to put us a step back, but it kept pushing us to keep moving. Like, they kept telling us, you know, no matter what, you guys are going to make it. It might not be the same. You know, we didn't have a graduation like normal. We didn't have our pinning ceremony like normal. My graduation party was canceled, you know, things like that. But in the end, I kind of just put it out there that just because of all this stuff happened didn't mean that we didn't accomplish it, because we did. We graduated. We are now putting in our licensing to get hired. We're taking all of our boards exams and finishing those. And so either way, we're still facing it, but it's getting better, and we're still able to accomplish all of our goals.
That is so awesome. So one of the things I'm curious about is, I know a lot of it came from your own drive, but were there any like words of encouragement or any, was there any kind of advice that you can remember that kind of just, you know, ran through your mind during those tough times?
Yeah, I think everybody kind of impacted me, as far as like, especially like family and friends. You know, they always said, we don't know what you're going through. You know, this has never happened in the world. You know, this is history that's going to be made. And they just kept telling me, you know, don't give up, keep pushing. You know, you're going to do it. You got to believe in yourself. So I think a lot of those words, you know, grandma especially, she kept telling me, I'm praying. She prayed every single day that all this stuff happened. And
Awesome.
so she always, called me and told me, I prayed for you. You're going to do it. Don't let nobody tell you that you can't do anything, because you're here today and you're almost done. Like when I first started, especially when I first started school, the first semester, I was like, I'm not going to make it. I can't pass these exams. There's 3 exams this week. How am I going to pass all 3 of them? And every semester I made it. My family was still proud of me no matter what. If I failed, if I didn't pass an exam or didn't finish a patient in clinic that day, it was very discouraging, because then it puts you far behind, and you have to get caught up, and you got to bring your grades up, and just telling me every day, like, it's okay, you have tomorrow and the next day and the next day, and you're gonna get it done, and no matter what, we're still proud of you. And there were a couple of people in our program that didn't have that support. Their family lived out of state, and they had to stay here by themselves, or they don't have parents, or anybody to help them, support them. I also think that advice to them would just be, just keep pushing and being who you are, because no matter what has impacted in your life, that's not going to stop you from pursuing your dreams. You're going to continue to live your life the way you want it, and nobody else. Keep going, because life's going to throw you curveballs, and you just got to swing it the other way.
I love it. That's a great analogy. Yeah, especially with your softball background. That's so cool.
Yes.
So my last question is just wondering, what exactly is your title right now after graduation?
So pretty much after you're done with my career, they had grant you, it's called RDH, which is a registered dental hygienist. So that would be my title. So you are registered in the state of Colorado to practice dental hygiene prevention on patients.
And do you have an associate's degree from Pueblo Community College? Is that included in this process, or?
Yes, it's an associate's in science of dental hygiene.
Okay.
And actually at Pueblo Community College, there's only 3 dental hygiene programs in the state of Colorado. 2 are in Denver and 1 is here in Pueblo. And in Pueblo is the only community college that you can go back to get your bachelor's degree of dental hygiene. And that's actually all online, and you do it online for 2 years, and you could get your bachelor's degree.
Cool. Very cool. Do you think that might be something you would pursue one day? Or?
Yeah, I think right now I'm exhausted.
Got your hands full.
Years, and I really just kind of want to get that experience and work. What's great about our field is they know that we have that type of program, so they work with you. If you want to go part-time and then go to school, what's nice is, like I said, it's online, so you could do it at your own pace. So, I definitely want to go back, maybe not this year, but in a few years, go back and kind of pursue that.
Sounds awesome. Well, thank you so much for being the first to do this with me.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you taking the time, and I'm so proud of you. And I know your dad would be too. Just go on, because you're amazing.
So I want to be able to kind of, prove people wrong. That was a lot of another thing is, a lot of people thought that I couldn't do it, and so that was, for me, I think that makes you want to do something, is when people tell you you can't do it, and you just have that drive to prove them wrong. And so it was nice and revealing, and kind of a kick in the butt to tell them that you could do it. So
well, again, I'm so proud of you, and thank you again, and I just can't wait to see what comes next for you. So
yeah, I know, I can't wait.
Well, have a great rest of your day, and thanks again, and I'll be in touch. Thank you, everybody, for listening. This has been a La Gente Legacy production and the Successful in the SLV series. Stay tuned for more.